What's going on, guys? It's Perna here, and today I want to tell you the most important things about scaling an online coaching business that most people won't tell you, and I'm going to tell you for free right now. So if you get value out of this video, please support below, subscribe, check out, if you want to work with us, check out some links below. I've got some free stuff for you, and I hope you enjoy this. Now, if you're wondering where the hell I am and you haven't seen, I am in Finland at the moment, just working, traveling, just living life, and I'm wearing a new sweater. Okay, so I thought I'd mention that because it's like staring me in the face and I didn't want to take it off. But funny story, I actually got a blood nose when I was trying this stuff on in the shop, and I bled all over my white stuff that I was carrying. Did I buy it? Find out on the next episode. So I want to talk about the most important things that people ask me with online coaching, and this is relevant for people who are doing, I would say, more than 5 to 10K a month. If you're doing less than that as an online coach, click the link below and join the blueprint, and we'll get you up there, okay? We'll get you at a 20. But it will probably still benefit you, or maybe get you excited or stop you from making some mistakes. But if you're doing over 100K a month, you probably don't need to watch this because I'm guessing you already do that stuff. But anyone in between, probably worth a watch, okay? The stuff I'm gonna share today could make you a shitload of money. All right. So the first thing I wanted to cover is when to raise prices, because most people, they just charge too low, always charge too low. Now, how much can you charge depends on your capacity, and it depends on what you're comfortable with in your target market. So that's why any blanket statement on what to charge is kind of bullshit, because no one knows who you are, who you target, and kind of what you do anyway. I have guys that charge $6,000. I know people who charge $10,000. Who it's for, when it doesn't matter. It's not what you think. It's not just busy professionals. It is what it is, and it largely depends on your sales skills. So to give you some kind of blanket statement, just so that you can get a ballpark figure, we want to be charging at least 2K, at least 2 to 3K. Now, your sales skills are going to determine how high you can push that, as well as your target market. For example, if you're targeting young people, good luck. If you're targeting adults in first world developed countries, you should be pretty sweet to charge these prices, and your niche is no different than the next one. Like, you don't need to be targeting busy professionals all the time to get people who have a couple grand, but you do need good sales skills. So your sales, and forgive my childish writing because I have nothing to go off, but your sales skills here are is like a seesaw with your price. So if you have a close rate, meaning the percentage of people that you're closing on every sales call, if that is at 50%, we're pretty much chilling. And at that point, we can start to increase the price. So we start to increase the price here, and your close rate percentage will go down a little bit. So at this point, your sales skills need to increase in order to basically offset the increase of your price, obviously. So let's say your sales skills go down to 25% at our new price, because let's say you literally doubled it and you close now 1 in 4 as opposed to 2 in 4. Now we need to work twice as hard on our sales skills to get it up to the point where it's back at 50%, at least. Because if it's 50%, it's basically a signal that the market is buying what we're selling, because not everyone is going to be a closed deal, obviously. And if it's above 50%, you definitely need to increase your prices. So this is where sales training comes in handy. And it's something that online coaches do not think of. A lot of coaches in other industries do, but online coaches don't think of getting sales training. I have no fucking idea why. Maybe because it's not really, actually I do know why. It's because if you're a fitness coach, you got into it because you love fitness, not really because you love sales. That's probably why, because that was my experience with it. But as soon as, and I've witnessed hundreds of people go through this in the blueprint, as soon as you understand sales and really get into it, and not just the surface level understanding, but the deep understanding, you crush it. And that's where you understand why and how you can charge over 3-4K for programs, because you know a lot. And you can't master sales in a short video. You need proper training. That's why we have like actual sales trainers that help you guys out for those who are in the blueprint. So that's kind of like the first little hack is like when to raise prices, okay? And it is to do with it's correlated with your close rate. What's your close rate? Look at your prices. Now, if you have a bad close rate and you're still too cheap, then you know what you have to do. The second thing I want to talk about is kind of off the back of sales, which is having upfront pricing and also payment plans. So most people look at coaching as a subscription model. They think it's just a subscription, and I like to look at it as a price for a promised outcome. So if you're promising people that they're going to lose X amount of weight, they're going to change their life in a certain way by a particular date, right? Because otherwise, if there's no deadline, what are they just subscribing for fun? Like, no, they usually buy online coaching because they want one particular outcome. So we like to attach that outcome to a time and also our price point. Let's say that price point is 5K, just for a flat number. 5K, and it's 6 months. And that 6 months is gonna get them a clear result of whatever you decided and discussed on the call. And they're like, great, happy with that, let's go. Now, what if they go, oh, that's a bit expensive? Okay, well, we can break it up into a payment plan. Okay, cool. So now we put a bit of it, maybe a 20% increase on the payment plan price. Why? Because that's how the world usually works. You don't go to a bank and get all of your money now, or you can pay it off tomorrow and it's the exact same, or you pay it off in 30 years and it's the exact same price. Like, it's interest everywhere because economics is just how the world works. It's the time value of money. It's more valuable right now today in your hand than it is later because you can invest it, you can do stuff with it, you can turn it into more money, and there's also the risk that maybe you don't get that later. There's always a default risk. So money is more valuable today than later, so we discount it today to match the time value of money. So it makes sense that we could say our price today is 5K, and let's add 20% to that. So that means that in the future, you could pay it off on a payment plan, and that's worth 6K now, basically. So 6K over 6 months time, okay, or 5K today. That's pretty much how we'll run it. And I typically like to add that like roughly 20% incentive discounted to pay in full. Now, if you want to split that up weekly or monthly as a payment plan, it's up to you. There's other methods of payment plans as well. There is not just a monthly or weekly. There is 2Pay. There are 3Pay, all the way up to, if you want 6Pay. A 6Pay is what? It's a monthly, if it's a 6-monther. So if we do a 2Pay and we charge 5K for a pay in full, so let's say 1Pay is a PIF, so that's $5,000. Now the total, let's say 2Pay, it might be like an extra 5%. So let's say it's going to be 52.50. 3Pay might be 5,500, and let's say a 6Pay is our 6,000. All right, and we split that like that. You can do payment plans like that because it's not a subscription model; it's a payment plan model. Now, this usually begs the question of like, well, what happens at the end of the container then? If I'm charging $2,000 for 3 months, then what happens? And that's where it's interesting because a lot of the people who do upfront pricing, a few things happen. People go, yep, I'm sticking to it. It's going to take me 3 months or 6 months or whatever. If they get to the end of their 6-month container and they've achieved their dream outcome and they're totally happy, then cool. They might just stop and not decide to renew. But what you can do is present a really, really desirable scenario for them where let's say it was 6K for that first 6 months if they did a payment plan, and then at the next point they're like, okay, we get to this end period. I've achieved a lot of fat loss, but now I want to maybe do a reverse diet, and I've got other goals that I want to pursue because we already did really well. Now, pause. 2 things are going to happen here. Either 1, they get great results and then they want the next thing, or 2, they didn't really adhere to it for whatever reason and they want to give it another crack at their first goal. So they're always, usually the path is still, often is still there. The future is still there. So if they want to achieve a bigger outcome after, well, then instead of this being 6K for 6 months, you could extend it and do 6K for an additional 12 months, bringing the lifetime value to 12K. That's a really good deal because you've literally given them half price, and that's the incentive. So look, we can keep going for 12 months. Let's map it out. This is what it's going to look like. And it's basically half price because you've already signed up. That's one way of doing it. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. You could re-sign them at the exact same rate. You could give them a slight discount, whatever you want to do. This is a really easy one. It's just basically same price, double the duration. So they see the value, massive perceived value, but also still a very decent LTV. Now compare this to people saying that they'll get more LTV off a weekly subscription model. And if you think about it, if people typically charge on their weekly, because anything above $100 a week feels like a very expensive subscription, in my opinion. So if we take even $100 a week, and then we try and achieve this same LTV of 12K with someone, well, how long do they have to be with us for? So at 120 weeks equals 2 years. So now you could say, well, you could double the pricing, but that would be $200 a week. $200 a week as a subscription ongoing feels very expensive, and I don't think someone's going to stick around for a year doing that. So this is a typical average, in my opinion, of what would happen if you charged $100 a week. Like, can you get someone on for 2 years without canceling ever? If you can, amazing. You can just do that, right? You'll have a huge LTV. If you can adjust your coaching model to have a retention like this of 2 years at $100 a week, amazing. But most people charge somewhere in between $50 to $100, which means it's going to bring this to 3 years. Whereas we could have one really good offer for something like this price point, and then have a really good back-end extension offer as well. Now, not everyone can charge this. I'm using this as just a typical, just an example of like what a really proper high-ticket coaching offer would look like. But just so you can see the price points, I personally prefer to have a great offer and get more upfront today, and then have a re-sign process, and that occurs towards the end of their first one. Now, I can't go into that because that's kind of what we do in the blueprint as well, but if that's piqued your interest, then good. Number 3 I want to talk about is hiring. Who to hire, when to hire, how to build your team. This will depend on the business itself, but I always think people can benefit from a few key hires. A VA, people to help with, this could be helping with your DMs, helping with your workflow, helping with posting your content. Definitely an editor, would be huge, because if you're editing your content yourself and you're scaling your business, your hourly rate is not that of an editor, and you can get offshore cheap editors for, you know, $6 an hour, $8 an hour. And then you can put your time into stuff that's better suited and more leverage as well. So they're really easy ones from the very beginning, I would recommend. As you start to become a higher business owner and you're actually wanting to scale, I personally would hire a setter. Someone, an appointment setter, usually over the phone, that can go in your CRM if you have one and basically contact your leads and book appointments for you, and you'll be taking the calls. Setter will be the lifeblood of the business, and then at the point where you do not want to take calls anymore and you've basically capped out, you get a closer, and a closer will be taking your sales calls for you and with you. And my recommendation is make them part of the team so they actually know everything. Like they would coach people. So our closers, they know so much about this. They could be the coach in the blueprint. Like they could actually help people and coach them through it, and they do that on the calls. So that if someone has a closing call with our team, they can actually get a shitload of free value and free info. And sometimes the closers don't pitch them. The best story was one of my guys was on a call with a client. Well, he's a client now, but he was just a lead. And the guy couldn't do it, couldn't afford it, and he just couldn't make it happen. So my sales closer gave him sales training on that call and said, do this and come back when you make money. The guy came back when he had like 3K from the tips that my guy gave him, and he just joined. Made 20K a month ever since from nothing. Pretty cool. So this is kind of the hiring process in a nutshell of what you can do with your business. Now, if you're looking at this and you go, wow, I don't have any of these, well, great. You're a one-man band now. Your profits are really high in terms of the percentage, but at some point, this is going to need to be leveraged out a little bit if you really do want to scale. And then at the point where you cannot consistently coach anymore, you're going to need to get a sub coach to help you out as well. Because if you don't have a sub coach and you're handling 50 to 100 clients, good luck doing everything else too. Next, I want to talk about content hacks. Just a bit about content. The biggest mistake I see people making with content right now is they are looking for hacks. They're looking for, how do I get the best hook in the first 3 seconds? And it's only that it's the tiniest bit. It's like the tip of the iceberg is looking at hook structure and things like that. Like, yeah, that stuff's great, but most people don't need that. That's why I don't fall for the gimmicky stuff. The way you need to understand content is practicing and getting your voice across and having an opinion and voicing it and helping people. I didn't ever get into content creation and fitness through thinking, I want to get good at content. I did it by thinking, I want to get my message across and I want to help as many people as possible. Switch your mentality from, I need to get good at this and hook them in with the first 3 seconds. Switch that to, I need to service as many people as possible as best as I can. If you do that, you will succeed so much faster because your meaning is now in the game. Your fulfillment and your purpose is now in getting someone else help and results for free online. And that message is more important than your desire to have someone's attention in the first 3 seconds. And you'll feel this when you get into a flow state and you just focus on the person, focus on what they need most and delivering that to them. You think less about your judgment of how people are seeing you. You think less about what you look like, and you just think about the message. That's been my biggest content creation tip for the last 8 years, because it's what helped me go from absolutely struggling on camera, couldn't talk, to doing live presentations in front of hundreds of people and not really giving a shit. Was focusing on the message. Sometimes I'd still pull myself up and get scared and nervous on camera, but I just like have it in a dialogue and go, Zach, focus on the message. What do you want to say? Who are you saying? Who needs this? Like, who are you saying it to and who needs this? That's what I would say. And it helps a lot. So don't think about hacks for content. Think about your message and finding your voice. If you do not do content talking head, you don't have a voice online yet. It's just the way it is. So I would urge you to start creating content for the sheer purpose of finding your voice. The first maybe 50 videos they might not even do anything. They might not even help anyone. They might just be for you to find your own voice. And don't just waste time doing random videos at this point. Like, still try and add value and still try and do it in a way that's like, it's challenging you and making you think, oh, can I do it from this way? What would be a better thing? Like, try and make the videos good, but get your message across. Now, once you're getting your message across, I always recommend a bit of a funnel style of content. And I like doing like top of funnel style content, like mid of funnel, and obviously bottom of funnel content. This is more on stories. The top of funnel content is more value driven. And it's value driven. When I say value, it doesn't mean it's just information. It's value. It's giving people help and it's valuable. this can be entertaining, this can be educating. Often the simplest way is just educate people. Take their problems, turn it into a solution. That's a piece of content. A bit of a side note on this is even go on ChatGPT and ask, this is my target audience. What problems and pain points do they have that they secretly don't want to say or talk about, but they're Googling, you know, like that stuff. Do that, because you're going to hit pain points and relatability that's going to go, oh my God, that's insane. That's for me. I need this right now. So help people. This is all about adding value and helping people. This is going to get is going to push out to more people, and it's also going to do everything. It's going to further increase the trust you have with your audience and your credibility, and it's also going to reach more people, the people you want to help. But make sure this is through the lens of your niche. Put your niche sunnies on and go, is this going to strengthen my brand through the eyes of my target audience? Because if it isn't, it's probably too broad of value. Like, you can make value content that's valuable for the next guy, but not your niche, so what's the point? So make sure it is valuable through the lens of your niche. Now, in middle funnel content, we can do more personal stuff. And this is like anything. Like, this is documenting what you're already doing. This is just, a lot of filming what you already do, and a lot of just random videos that you want to make, stuff that lights you up, that you get passionate about, that you want to film. Do that, have fun with it. It's going to increase the relatability and the connection that you have with your audience, which is powerful. So that's why with my personal brand, I did random funny shit, stuff that people would look at and go, that's not professional. Like, how can you do that? And I at the time was like, oh, who gives a fuck? If people gel with me, great. They'll love it even more. And if people who don't, they wouldn't want to work with me anyway. If they found out my personality and they're like, oh, this guy's jokes around too much. Like, I wouldn't want them as a client anyway, you know? So don't have this persona of this like crazy professional guru coach, because it's kind of bullshit. Like, be who you are and show that online. That's the whole point of a personal brand, is standing out and being different. So I'm gonna put that in above here, is you have to be different. Because if you don't stand out online, you will just blend in and make things very expensive if you're starting to run ads. So we've got value, we've got personal, and down here we've got some proof content. Now every now and then you want to sprinkle in some proof of basically who you've helped and why you are good at what you do. This could be starting videos with, after helping 100 mums burn fat and get in their best shape, here are 3 things I've realized. Like, that's proof content. Here's my client, David. He's lost 10 kilos by not counting calories. Here's exactly what we did. That's proof content. Proof content is a simple ad going, look at all these people I've helped. It's just credibility. It's just showing that you're good at what you do. Now, the next one, and this is all reels. These are all reels or carousels. Like, you can still do this on carousels. But finally, we do CTA content. CTA content is only primarily done on stories, unless you are trying to do little mini micro magnets, like little lead magnets through ManyChat. CTAs on your stories are basically the same message said in a million different ways. So if you guys want, I've actually released a cute little lead magnet, which is 30 CTAs that I've personally written to basically say the same thing in a million different ways. Really, really important. Otherwise, you'd be screaming to the void saying, I'm looking for 5 people who want to lose weight, and it gets old really, really quick. So if you want that, it's a free download. You'd be stupid not to. So I would highly recommend you get your hands on that. Now, I could talk all day about funnels, but I think I'm going to save that for another video because there's a lot of juicy stuff in there. But now I will talk about ads really quickly. So with ads, people either don't know what they're talking about or they've never done it. Because ads are, it's not do they work, it's do you know how to do it. That's pretty much the way it is. Now, not a lot of people know this, but I have run my own ads for years. Only right now I do it with someone else, but before I ran them for years, and I pushed $1,000 a day in spend every single day for a long time. And I did this because I learned the hard way, and I paid agencies and I paid other people who were just not the right people tens of thousands a month to run my ads, because I didn't invest in learning myself. When I did invest in learning myself, it was the best thing I ever did. Now I teach other people, and I can like confidently tell them that if you invest with me to teach you how to do this stuff, it's going to be the best thing you've ever done. The conviction there, you can tell that I believe that because I've seen it happen, and I love this shit. So quick one on ads. I didn't mean to give you guys a sales pitch, but it's important to me. So ads, we can do a few things. We can get traffic, like eyeballs on our stuff. This is typically people do boosts. We can get leads. We can get appointments, so schedules. Growing up in Italy, when Dad's Italian, and he always told us that like slang for fart was schedule. So every time I write schedule, I think of farting. So we can get traffic, leads, farts, or we can get sales, the main ones. Now, traffic is basically boost. So we do boosted posts that way, but we do it within Ads Manager. Get new people on your stuff. Now, on this, you need to make sure that the person you are targeting is your target audience. You'll do that through the content. You'll do it through any other manual targeting if you need to. For leads, there's a lot of different ways we can get leads. We can get DMs. We can get a lead magnet, opt-ins. we can get applications. The list goes on. There's a lot of different ways we can get leads. Instant forms, same kind of thing. In any case, it doesn't matter, just get leads. It's one goal. Schedules is calls booked, and sales is if you're offering a low ticket product, you will sell that and then you'll have an ascension model to get them up on your high ticket. Using funnels, automations, bit of manual sales processes as well. These are the main things we do with ads. Now, what you have to do is choose one of these or two of these to run in the beginning and smash it. So typically we have some traffic combinations, the first one people start with, and then we have one method of lead acquisition. Then you need to crunch the numbers and go over your sales data and make sure you know what the bottleneck is. Because either you're getting leads and they're making you, you're acquiring leads at a far lesser rate than what the lead is worth to you. For example, if you pay Meta, basically, let's say you pay Meta $20 for a lead, yet you know through your sales data that every single lead basically gives you $100, then you got a 5x ROAS on your return on ad spend. Pretty good. That's why it's important to know your sales data as well. So guys, I could go on for days about this, but let me know if this is helpful. Let me know in the comments below what you want to see more of. And if you want help growing your business or starting a business, then click below. Be happy to jump on a call and chat to you about how that works too. But that is it for me, guys, and I will see you in the next video.